Project Skunk. An Engineer's Tale. Okay, originally this was posted over in our RBI. And they suggested a longer version would go well here. So here goes. I hope you enjoy it. Decades ago I worked the worst crap job of my life as a software engineer. Writing code for an OBD2 car code scanner at a completely dysfunctional business I'm not going to name. But I'll drop a hint and say all their products are all orange. It was right after 9/11. I was laid off. And jobs were nearly impossible to find. But I managed to land one there, and out of desperation I took the job. And there I met probably the best friend I ever made at work. I'll call him Agents. Agents was a coder's coder. A real laid-back guy. And an all-around good egg. Imagine if the dude could code. You'd pretty much have Agents. We had many wonderful overlong lunches working there. And I needed the calm he taught me. Because that place was nuts. All the departments poisonously hated each other. The head of engineering was as paranoid as a Russian czar. Rampant abuse. Theft. The works. A total madhouse. But eventually everyone has their limit. And Agents had put in his 2 weeks' notice. Just to let you know how nice he was. He was the only person that quit that wasn't escorted to his car immediately by an armed guard. Which was standard procedure. He was permitted to put in his last 2 weeks. So imagine my surprise when Agents said, "I want some payback before I go." Quote. Maybe a few days earlier. The paranoid czar of engineering gave us this odd missive. When you leave your desk for any reason, you are to take your papers on your desk and lock them in your desk. You are to lock your computer. You are to put a password in your BIOS and shut down your machine when you leave for the night. You are to erase your marker boards. Leave no scrap of paper out or any hint of what you are working on. And no explanation why, which was standard for him. Just do it. Of course. We all wanted to know why. So our man in the field, I'll call him Bond, went about finding out. Bond was social and likable and had friends in every department in the increasingly balkanized organizational structure. I'll ask around. And don't tell anybody. He found out. Engineering czar got word somehow that people in the sales department were working late and waiting for engineering to leave. Once we left, they were going through our desks and computers looking for clues as to what we were working on. They would then copy this stuff down, claim it as a project I'm heading up, and present the material to their superiors so they could look valuable and get raises and all that fun sales stuff. Yes, I know. Sales is supposed to query their customers for features they'd like. Then make proposals to engineering. I did say this place is dysfunctional, right? Engineers drove the product design since sales couldn't be bothered. And why should they, when they could just steal it instead? Right? So Agents had had enough. We made Project Skunk. All projects in this place were named after an animal. We decided to leave a hint in the name that all was not as it should be. And we dreamed up the most amazing OBD2 scanner in the world. Here are some of the specs. Since everyone knows 32-bit processors are more expensive than 8-bit processors, we would save money by using a 2-bit processor. The EEPROMs that held the automotive database were expensive as well. So to save space, we would use zip to compress the database 12 times and store it on a single 4K EEPROM. Predictive analysis. If you enter in the last few codes your car through, it would extrapolate and tell you the next part on your car that was going to break. I thought of this one. I'm especially proud of it. And so on. We spent a happy afternoon drawing up box diagrams with flux capacitors and n-dimensional grommets and yo-yo-dyne compensators. Lots of specs and analyses and other assorted bits of utter nonsense. We scattered them all over agent's desk. Then went home. The very next day, our man in the field, Bond, gives us the news. Project Skunk is a hit. The entire building is buzzing over it. Salespeople are tripping over each other taking credit. It took about a week before the stolen goods were finally passed upstream to the six-figure guys. Before someone with half a clue noticed that everything in the project was absolutely fucking impossible. Agents had left by then. But I tracked him down and we had lunch. And I told him the results of the ill harvest he had left behind. Sales had been seriously embarrassed in front of their superiors. And the ones over them as well. I don't know if anything came of it. It was an old boys network there. And I'm sure they covered for each other somehow. But they were embarrassed and they were hurt. How do I know? Every day from that day on. Anytime a person from sales passed me in a hallway or something, they would physically turn their face from me to shun me. It was hilarious. Like somehow I'm the asshole for making fake stuff for them to steal. They went under not too long after that. The building is now a medical company supplying COVID masks. Edit. Didn't see Rule 11 before I posted. Sorry. Fixed that. This is great. I would love to have been a fly on the wall during the big meeting when the lone person with a functioning brain cell told them how stupid those parasites all were for pushing Project Skunk so hard. I'm just imagining the seagulls from Finding Nemo scurrying through an office building. I would have loved to have contributed ideas to that project. Improved fuel economy and peak power performance by reprogramming your engine timing and mixture. Loss of automobile power configuration backups, including radio presets. A line of red status lights indicating operation progress. We can appeal to Knight Rider and Battlestar Galactica fans. Quote. Reset of flags that dealers use to invalidate warranties. Generate an electric field on the car body to interfere with radar detectors. As an automotive professional specializing in diagnostics, I have never used an aftermarket scan tool that was worth the expense. Especially the highly touted red-clad units that required several hundred clams for annual software updates. I finally dove into the OEM tools for the vehicles that I serviced the most. The over-the-top expense of purchasing these tools paid off. We were the only independent shop in town ready for the explosion in the demand for module programming and charged accordingly. We provided dealer-level service at a lower overall cost. I always wondered at the mindset of the designers of the aftermarket tools and why they pushed the features of their products over the other suppliers. Thanks for the insight. Anytime a person from sales passed me in a hallway or something, they would physically turn their face from me to shun me. I would have sniffed around and said, "Do I smell skunk?" Quote. I once worked for a company where engineers were forbidden from discussing work with salespeople and discouraged from even talking to them. I wasn't happy about that. Some salespeople are fun to hang out with, and if you get along with them you get the leftover food from corporate catered events. So I wanted to know why. Apparently salespeople had been sniffing around for information on new developments so they could pre-sell the next generation of products to customers. On one occasion they made such a pre-sell to a company that had experience with IP law, who then patented the idea. That resulted in significant unhappiness extending to the executive level. Fortunately, the salespeople didn't guess the mandated one-letter password we used and mess with our computers. UNS are my new workplace gods. Though my existing experience in software engineering was with a bunch of well-adjusted individuals. WTF, why did you remove it? Dumb fucking mods. Very nice. You had me at Yoyodyne smiling face. You had me at 2-bit processors. It got removed. Project Skunk is ProRevenge, because eventually it lead to company's downfall. I know the company's name but won't name it also since it'll be breaking the rule. Tales from tech support would get a good chuckle out of this too smiley face. They had it coming. They were stealing ideas from one another and taking credit for it. That place deserves to be shut down for letting this go on for too long. Nice curve ball. I thought for sure the revenge would have been agents leaving everything locked in his desk on the last day and a laptop they couldn't access. Ha. Just those 3 lines made me double over laughing. Is there any chance you could post some of the other specs? I'm dying to know what you came up with and how far you went. Seems like there was a lot of room for fun creativity with these kinds of skilled, hardworking people. Lol. That predictive analysis is pure gold. Though I still can't believe it worked. Yoyodyne compensators, please tell me that your design diagrams included an overthruster. So engineering czar got a point for being paranoid then XD. This reminds me of an episode of Better Off Ted. They had a fake project, Jabberwocky, that the company kept trying to make work despite it not actually existing.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.